You've just landed at Orlando's International Airport and you want to go to Disney World. To be more specific, Disney Springs, the part of Disney World closest to the outside world. What are your options? Disney's website has 4 amazing ideas. The Mir shuttle, almost $20 but does the job, or a car, or a different car, or even a third car. If you ask Google for a transit option, that 25-minute drive becomes a nearly 2-hour odyssey, connecting the airport shuttle to the 311 bus, which runs every 25 minutes, and, if you're lucky with traffic, will get you and your bags to the Disney Springs parking lot in just under an hour after you board. From there, it's a 10-minute walk to Google Maps' Disney Springs pin, and ta-da! Of course, now that you're inside Disney World, you're in transit paradise. You can get almost anywhere on park buses, water taxis, gondolas, monorails, gondarails. Okay, that last one's not real, but it's a good idea, right? Imagineers, get on it. But anyway, what gives? Why is it such a breeze to get around in here, but so hard to get to here? Why are the literal millions of people a year who land at MCO with the express purpose of going to Disney World all taking separate rideshares and rental cars? Why is there no fast, reliable public transit from the airport to Disney World? And are we even close to getting it? Right now, the closest thing to a public transit option to Disney World is the aforementioned Mears bus, a privately operated shuttle between the airport and Disney's hotels. You book a ticket, get to the pickup, and wait a few to 30 minutes to get whisked away to the most magical place on Earth. For a time, Disney operated its own bus, Disney's Magical Express, that was free to anyone staying in a Disney hotel, but they axed that in January of 2022. There are a wealth of Disney blogs to theorize as to why. The most likely answer seems to be that people were more than happy to take a rideshare instead. At least they thought they were. I know a lot of my viewers are transit stanzits, and some of you are Orlando residents, so you don't need me to say this, but when hordes of people are traveling from the exact same origin to the exact same destination, day in, day out, they are not better off in cars. First, the environment. Second, the higher cost per person. Third, for anyone in rental cars, the amount of parking infrastructure they need takes up space that would be better served by more space mountains. And fourth, traffic in Orlando's tourism corridor is bad, and the lack of public transit to Disney makes it orders of magnitude worse, inconveniencing both locals who aren't going to a theme park and parkgoers whose 25-minute drive can end up a whole lot longer thanks to congestion. Quick bit of Orlando geography. This is the Orlando metro region, population about 2.5 million. This is Orlando proper, population about 320,000. Downtown Orlando is up here, the airport is over here, and the big tourist attractions are down here in the tourism corridor. 100,000 residents, or about 4% of the entire metro area, work down here. Give them a train! Here are the trains Orlando does have. First, there's their commuter train, Sunrail, that serves 1.2 million passengers a year across its 61-mile or about 100-kilometer north-south line. It's only been around since 2014, and its final station opened in August of 2024. There's Amtrak, which is basically irrelevant here, and there's Brightline, which started sending 32 trains between Orlando and Miami a day in 2023. Their station is the airport, where Sunrail does not go. More on that later. Now, Brightline has big plans to extend their service over to Tampa. Tampa, if you're hip, is over this way. And look who's on the way. It's the entire tourism corridor. In November of 2020, Disney World and Brightline formalized plans to put a Brightline station in Disney Springs, at long last offering Mickey a public transit option to the airport and also all his favorite clubs in Miami. Seemingly, Disney wanted in on the train to attract more weekend visitors from Tampa and South Florida. The plan was to build a route here, along State Road 417, with Disney Springs as the only stop between MCO and Tampa. You know who liked this? Disney. You know who didn't like this? Every other tourist attraction in Orlando. Universal, as well as other spots along the International Drive, say, hey, maybe let's do this route and add some stops. Universal even donated a few acres of land to build the station on. Naturally, in June 2022, Bitter Betty Disney was like, oh cool, we're actually out then. This new route was named the Sunshine Corridor, and along with taking a different path than the one Disney liked, it adds 2 stations. One sort of near Universal's new Epic Universe theme park, one at the Orange County Convention Center, and one about as close to Disney Springs that you can get without being on Disney's land. The Sunshine Corridor would have Brightline trains, but also, and this is a big deal, Sunrail. Yeah, Sunrail would finally connect to the airport and all these other places people work and visit. which is pretty exciting because as of 2025, local governments are officially responsible for maintaining and operating Sunrail and would really prefer more people take it. An early study has estimated that extending Sunrail just to the airport would triple ridership to 3.7 million passengers in the first year it was open, with 5.2 million expected by 2040 at a cost of under $400 million. But if you build the Sunshine Corridor even without a Disney Springs stop, it starts to look like 5.4 million riders in the first year and 7.9 million in 15, though that costs over $4 billion. Add a Disney Springs stop, and for $4.4 billion, you can expect 6.4 million riders, over 5 times what Sunrail sees today, in just a year, and over 9 million by 2040. And these ridership numbers are likely underestimates of the actual demand for trains around here. So the big question is, are they going to build the train? And if so, does it go to Disney World? For as much excitement as there is for the Sunshine Corridor at the city, county, and Universal level, this is still a multi-billion-dollar project, and unlike the Disney-approved route on 417, Brightline can't pay for it on their own. Instead, Sunshine heads are hoping to get a grant from the Federal Transit Administration, but before they even qualify to apply, they need to complete a Project Development and Environmental Study, or a PD&E, which will take 2 years and cost $6 million. Right now, they're fundraising just to do the study, let alone build the choo-choo train. The Florida Department of Transportation has put up $2 million. The city of Orlando and Seminole County, which doesn't even touch the Sunshine Corridor, mind you, have each pitched in $500,000, and Universal has thrown in $2 million. That leaves $1 million unaccounted for. That may come in part from Orange, Osceola, or Volusia counties, or coalitions of private businesses that want to see this thing built. $500,000, it seems, may actually come from the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District, the government-ish entity that oversees Disney World, and whose funds are pretty much entirely Disney tax revenue. Why would Disney come crawling back? Well, they still benefit from direct or almost direct train access to Tampa, Miami, and the airport, and while historically they've tried to disincentivize their visitors from hopping between Disney World and other Orlando attractions, it's arguably impossible at this point. Universal has gotten a lot better, and rideshare apps make it too easy. With the train built, they could see more convention goers or Universal vacationers coming their way. But for now, this is all theoretical. They haven't chipped into the study, it's just a proposal they're discussing. Which means that, at the time of writing, this study, the first step in getting a train built that connects all this stuff to the airport, is still $1 million short of being funded. That's why we at Half as Interesting are gonna save this train by putting on the greatest talent show this town has ever seen. Okay, actually, no we're not. That sounds hard. But we're gonna send good vibes. Hopefully that helps. Now, today's video took place in Florida, the home of fascinating news. But if you really want to know what's going on in Florida, or anywhere, you should check out this video's sponsor, Ground News. It's a website and app designed to help you identify media bias and misinformation. Here's how. Let's say you're curious about why Florida lawmakers are considering easing up their child labor laws. On Ground News' page, you can see which side of the political spectrum is writing more about this story. In this case, the left and center, with the right largely leaving it alone. If you scroll down, you can see over 100 articles Ground News has compiled, each tagged with the publication's political bent, factuality rating, and ownership. You can even compare headlines to see how different types of publications characterize what's going on. It has quite literally never been so important to understand who's informing you and how well they're doing it. That's why I'm offering 40% off Ground News' Vantage subscription through my link, ground.news/halfasinteresting, so go sign up now.